Hello everyone, today we'll be looking at REMS of the elbow, which REMS stands for Regional Examination of the Musculoskeletal System, and today we'll be doing the elbow region. So if you want to get this document, I'll have a link to this in the description. It's a document made by Arthritis Research UK. It's very useful for students who want to learn about physical examination of the musculoskeletal system. So without further ado, REMS. In all REMS, we do look, feel, move, and then functional tests. So we just follow this sequence. I'm going to read through all this and interpret it and try to summarize it in the end in a way that is easier to remember. So first we start with look. Look from the front for the carrying angle and from the side for flexion deformity. So just look for an image so that you know what's the carrying angle. So when a person is standing in anatomical position, your elbows are angled outwards. So when they are standing, you look for this carrying angle. So first you ask them to stand in the anatomical position. So stand straight with the palms facing forwards. Look from the front for carrying angle and from the side for flexion deformity. So from the side, you see if there's any deformity in the flexion of the elbow. You're looking at the elbow right now. So look for scars, rashes, muscle wasting, rheumatoid nodules. Yes, rheumatoid nodules usually can see from the back. So you might want to look from the back as well, other than looking from the front and side. Psoriatic plaques as well, you can see at the back of the elbows. You want to see how it looks like. Elbow. These are how rheumatoid nodules look like. So you look for these, and also scars of psoriatic plaques, and swelling such as olecranon bursitis. So that's all for look. Look from the front and side, and look from the back as well to look for any rheumatoid nodules, psoriatic plaques, any lesions on the elbow. Feel, using the back of your hand, feel the temperature across the joint and the forearm. So feel for temperature across the joint and forearm. Hold the forearm with one hand and the elbow flexed. Now with the elbow flexed to 90 degrees, palpate the elbow, feeling the head of the radius and the joint line with your thumb. So you have two bones in your arm. There's the radius and the ulna, right? So now you're holding the forearm. So let's say this is the patient's left arm. You'll be holding the patient's left arm with your left arm as well, and with your right arm you'll be feeling for the elbow region. First you feel for the radial part, the one on their medial part. Feel for the head of the radius and the joint line with your thumb. Joint line with your thumb. If there is swelling, is it fluctuant? Synovitis is usually felt as a fullness between the olecranon and the lateral epicondyle. Okay. Palpate the medial and lateral epicondyles for golfers and tennis elbow respectively, and the olecranon process for tenderness and evidence of bursitis. So you palpate the radial, the head of the radius, the joint line, and also the medial and lateral and medial epicondyles. So in the medial epicondyle is the golfer's elbow, and lateral epicondyle is tennis elbow. That's because you give backhands in tennis and you swing in golfers, and the olecranon process for tenderness and evidence of bursitis. So that's for feel. So you feel for temperature, and you feel on the elbow region for all these parts that I've just mentioned. Next, we move on to move. Does the elbow extend fully and flex fully? Assess both actively and passively and compare one side with the other. So actively means the person does it himself, and passively means the person relax and then you move the elbow for them. Assess pronation and supination both actively and passively, feeling for crepitus. So you do flexion and extension of the elbow and also pronation and supination of the forearm, both actively and passively. So ask them to do it themselves and ask them to relax and do it for them. Next, we move on to function test. So what do you do with your elbow? Most important, an important function of the elbow is to allow the hand to reach the mouth, because you need to eat. So if you can't allow the hand to reach your mouth, you will have problems doing your one of the most basic ADLs, which is eating. So you can't eat independently if you can't do this. So other functionally important movements such as hands behind the head will have been assessed during the screening examination during GALs. If you remember, gait, arm, legs, and spine, the first thing you do for arms is ask them to put their hands behind their head. So you do GALs, and then now you're doing REMS, so you don't have to repeat this. If you haven't done GALs, then you should assess the external rotation and the abduction of the shoulders. But we're looking at elbows. So the flexion, the function of the elbows. This is because if you can put your hands behind the head, you can probably comb your hair, dry your hair. This kind of personal hygiene things. Okay, so in summary, look, feel, move, and function test. You look from the front and side and from the back as well to look for any rheumatoid nodules or psoriatic plaques. Look, and then feel. You're gonna feel for temperature. Compare between the joint and the forearm, and then you feel. You hold the. You hold, for example, the patient's left hand with your same left hand, left to left, right to right, and then you feel with your other hand. So if you hold with your left hand, you feel with your right hand. You feel the radial head, the head of the radius, the joint line, medial, lateral epicondyles, and also the olecranon process for any swelling, any tenderness. Tenderness means when you press, there's pain elicited to the patient. So look at the patient's face when you're feeling for tenderness. See if there's any grimace, any hesitation. Next, move. So we move both actively and passively, both elbow flexion and extension, and forearm supination and pronation. Function, ask them to put their hand to their mouth. And that's all. So again, look from front, side, and back. Feel temperature, and feel for swelling and tenderness on the elbow. Move. Elbow flexion extension, active and passive. Forearm pronation and supination, active and passive. And functional tests, ask the patient to put their hand to their mouth. And that's all for REMS of the elbow. That's all I have for you. Thank you.